Yeah. What's going on, everybody? I'm live right now. This is the content call with Larry. That's not Larry. Let's join this and let's provide value because that's what we're doing. We're hopping on calls. We're providing clarity to others when it comes to posting content and content creation, like I did to this guy right here. And yeah, let's get started. Larry, can you hear me?
Yes.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Overwhelmed. Challenged.
Overwhelmed. You said that yesterday too. What's going on?
Uh, Everything. Trying to come up with rent money. Just trying to find a job. I just had an interview. I'm on Arch with Sam Singh
Oh,
and
Team
Cody Rhodes.
Arc? Team Arch?
Yeah, yeah.
How was
Arch
that?
or it's awesome, but it's there's a lot of I have a lot of what I was saying last night. This is what I signed up for. This is the journey, the process, the struggle that I'm in. Is I signed up for this. These are the things I got to overcome and move the needle forward 1% every day.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
I love that mindset. I mean, how long is it have you been in sub 2 for?
since November last year,
Okay.
November 7th.
Amazing. So, talk to me a little bit about your process right now. You joined last year and did you look to join a team when you first joined, or what did that look like for you?
Um, so I have a lot of very long stories. I try and shorten them.
We can go long form today. It's all good.
So I spent um, my father died when I was a child. Thanksgiving morning.
Wow.
Alcoholism.
Sorry.
We had a bowling alley. Dysfunctional family, abuse. I spent the next 40 years on drugs and alcohol uh, till last Super Bowl Sunday. Not this last one, last year.
Mhm.
I found a 1 minute Facebook ad from Pace, which was really cool. He remembered when I told him about it at the Tampa meetup. Um,
That's amazing.
he, he loved it. He goes, "Oh, I love that ad." He goes, "That's one of my all-time favorites."
What was the
And he
ad?
said, it was it was like Space Jam in there, and or you ever see that one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the bat,
The
yeah.
real estate market's on fire, like much of California,
Mhm.
and wholesalers are getting like the bad guys in Space Jam. Not that one, but the good one. I almost swiped up on my phone. I'm
Yeah.
sitting there, I'm like watching. I'm like, oh fuck, LeBron James. I'm like, and I saw Michael. I'm like, wait, this dude likes Michael. I might have to watch him. So I watched the rest of the ad. And both him and my favorite part was when you hear the iPhone ding when he says, "I can make homeowner as happy as a Mormon on his wedding night."
Mhm.
Ding. That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I was, no, that's my favorite part too. He's like, yeah, he's got a photographic memory. Um, so I walked away from my entire family, mother, brothers, sisters, everybody I knew in Las Vegas. At the end of the Super Bowl, I said, I said at the end of the Super Bowl, I said, God, I'm done. I said, I need all new friends and family.
Mm.
Um, I took my last hit of crack, last hit of heroin at the end of the Super Bowl last year. And he literally, I didn't go to AA, no hospitals, nothing.
Mhm.
I just, he literally took it away. I didn't suffer. Every time I would run out, I'd been on heroin for 7 years, crack for 32 years. And I'd always get sick. And that's why I kept doing it. It literally, I suffered for maybe one day, if that even.
And
Like people go,
why do you think that sudden change happened?
because I said, told God I was done. I was really done. And I said, I needed all new friends and family. Um, so I started down the real estate journey, and I barely got into the first Gator class. I took action and volunteered to go to Clever Summit last year,
Nice.
and but I risked by going the Saturday and Sunday. I went Friday. I volunteered because I couldn't afford a virtual ticket even. I said, I don't know whether I should go back there. I posted in creative financing group. I said, there were so many amazing people, and I met all these, people, and I hadn't. seen Pace yet, or but all the other sub two students, and I still didn't even know what sub two really was
Yeah.
at that point. I just knew I wanted to be in that Gator class, and because I couldn't afford to get into sub two, and I had to get my PCS set up. And if I went, I risked not getting the money to be on have my PCS set up by May 1st.
Gotcha.
So Tommy Thornburg seen the post. He said, "I love that your Monwell took action." He said, "Come by my post or my booth. I'm gonna take care of you." He ended up gifting me like everything, like most of everything, like my accounting, like 1,300 towards the initial credit, or 5,500 total.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then went down that gator hole, but I could never get my net 30 account started. Then the first elephant challenge, and I started getting shiny object syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and lost distractions at work in Vegas, and I got a settlement check because like God was like throwing money at me all last year. Like I got an accident. Well, the whole time I was staying clean since the Super Bowl, I
Mm-hmm.
was still living with my drug dealer. In the next room, there was drugs like literally
Wow.
next door, and the people people don't realize that part. For
Yeah,
8 months,
it sounds
it,
like that'd be hard to, start a new habit, start a new family, new friends when you're still around the same people.
yeah, it's really challenging. But I finally got a settlement check, and I went and with failing. I failed the plan, which was planning to fail. I just said, I'm buying this car and I'm getting out of here. I'm just gonna leave Vegas, and went and bought a buy here, pay here. And then I went to my first real estate meetup in Montebello, which I heard had a tornado yesterday in California. Um, Met Carlos Ruiz, JJ, Christian Hernandez, and Mikey Carcamo.
Mm-hmm. I remember that event.
Were you there?
No, 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 but I remember seeing about it on social media.
Yeah, and then Mikey, he let me stay his night in his Airbnb there. And he said, "What are you doing next?" I said, "Well, I'm going to the Grand Canyon, and then I'm going by Pace's office and joining Sub 2. And then I'm heading to Florida,
Mm-hmm.
Miami, because I like Vegas and the lights and stuff. Miami was the closest thing to Vegas, so
Yeah,
I wanted, but um, I just needed to get away, out of sight, out of mind. Um,
absolutely.
that's why everybody is like, oh, it's the one thing about AA and all that stuff. All they do is reinforce that you're an addict. All they do is bring up all the old visuals and stuff, talking about war stories, and then every time I did that before, there'd be some girl in there. I feel like getting high. I'm like, so do I.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you know? I'm
Down the
gone.
path, yeah.
And so I'm in Flagstaff. I just drove through Sedona. I was on my way to Pace's office, and another sub two student, Elizabeth, tells me, she's like, "Hey, Pace is gonna be here in Springfield, walking his multifamily. He's taking us all to lunch. You should drive on 40 and come up there and meet." And he, so she said, "Just join over the phone. Don't go to the office." Because so I ended up I took the long route. I said, if I'm just gonna go to, because she said, "Come to Chicago. We'll drive it and get that got longer." So I went up to Denver and joined Sub 2 while I was in Denver driving, because I had to go cash one of the checks from the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And got there, drove down, went and met Pace the second time. I met him backstage at Clever Summit the first time. Him and Ed Milet, Cody Sperber, Cole Hatter, Robert Kiyosaki, Vina Jetty,
Mm-hmm.
and Ryan Pineda. They were all walking by, and I was like, "Hey, Pace!" And I was like keeping people away from while the VIPs were eating lunch.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who Vina Jetty was at the time. I was hitting on her when she was asking about food. And he comes in, they all stop, turn around, like dead silent. They're all looking at me. He walks over, and I'm like, I'm gonna be your best student. He just shook my hand, looked me in the eye, didn't say nothing, turned around, they all walked away. I'm like, fuck. But then at the start of the Gator class, I sent him a DM in the Zoom, like in the first 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
like, try to chop me. And he was like, "Next person that does that, I'm kicking you out. None of you are my students."
I was in that Zoom. That
Were
was
you?
you, yeah.
That was me.
That was
That was
funny.
me.
That was funny.
So when I met him in Springfield, it was on my turn to go up there, and I was like, "Do you remember me?" He's like, "Of course." He's like, I was like backstage. He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." Wow. And then I was like, "Cool." And we took a picture, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
And then Elizabeth says I'm walking away. She's like, "Tell him about Flagstaff." And he's like, "What about Flagstaff?" He drove 2 days to get here. He drove here all the way from Flagstaff to see you. And he's like, "What?" And we did a whole like little interview.
Yeah.
And then I'm back by him. We're like getting more pictures, and I'm like, "I know why you remember me." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Cause I sent you that DM in the beginning of the Gator class." He's like, "Dude," he goes, "I loved it." He goes, "You set the tone for the whole class. Nobody ever did it again." He goes. I was like, "How do you remember this shit?" He goes, "I got a photographic memory." So after that, I got in my car. I'm heading to Miami. The engine blows in the car I just bought in Vegas.
Wow.
I ended up spending like 10, 12 days in Chicago in an Airbnb, which was amazing because while they're trying to figure out the warranty, which I ended up having no warranty and lost the car and my money and a whole bunch of more money, um, I made a bunch of connections. I joined Vina Jetty's Mastering Multifamily. It was the start of the Multifamily Elephant Challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a bunch of connections with other Sub 2 students during those 10 days. I was new to Sub 2, and I mean, some people, a couple people knew me, but it really kind of like set the tone for where I am now. Um,
Well, just to
I ended
like
up,
kind of like break it down, because I know you've said a lot. Like going back to it, just congratulations on a year of sobriety here. And what's so amazing about this is like that one ad really like started this whole change for you, right? That one piece of content that Pace created, and
yeah,
that's the reason as to why we do this, right? Like I looked at your Facebook, I saw like you continuing to post, and congrats on that as well. Like if we can help one more person, bring them to this go-giving family that we have here, I mean it's so much better. And I love that you're able to network with other people, and through that, you're creating long-lasting relationships. So yeah, just going back to what you were saying. So your 10 days, yeah, so you networked with a bunch more people, and then
yeah. Um, One other thing, I've also lost 150 pounds since then. I was 430 pounds that day on Super Bowl Sunday. Most people would lose their mind trying to eat one meal a day and lose weight, let alone quit cracking heroin at the same time and live with their drug dealer. It's like putting a fat person in living in the candy shop and all the food they want.
exactly. And now you're trying to not do any of that stuff. I think in a place where you come from, right, there's a lot of lives that you will impact, right, with your story. And let me ask you, have you said this story? Because you're a pretty good storyteller. Have you said this have you said this story before?
Yeah, not the whole thing, but I've done bits and parts of it on my podcast, and that's what Mikey Carcamo told me that night when I was in L.A. I got there late. Oh yeah, that was part of the story I
Mm,
was telling Pace. I said, I barely made it there because I got a flat tire in the car I just bought, and a man named Jesus changed my tire. There's a 2 minute little interview. You can watch it. I got it somewhere on there. It was like 2 minutes and 22 angel numbers, but I got there late, and I was just like so happy to be in LA and just out of Vegas and at my first real estate meetup. Well, I didn't have anywhere to go, and everybody already left. And when I got there late, Mikey was like, "Everybody who wants to be my apprentice," he goes, "I'm only gonna pick two of you, and then I'm gonna have you read for me. So whoever wants to come up and let me know, I'm gonna ask you a few questions, but I'm only picking two people." Well, I just had nowhere to go, so I'm just sitting there watching them. And Michael Barcina and Veen Kirkpatrick, they were the ones that he was interviewing.
mm-hmm.
But he was having them read something. It was some kind of transcendental meditation thing, and they were reading these short little things, and they would have to close their eyes and do what they were saying each time. It was like the first one was short, and then the next one was a little bit longer, and then there was one that was a whole page, and they'd already just did one each, and they were all nervous because they're being an apprentice. I'm not nervous because I wasn't being interviewed being an apprentice. I was like, well, I
Yeah.
can't be an apprentice. I'm brand new. I haven't even joined sub two.
Yeah.
Um, so Mikey brings over the full page, and they're both looking, and he goes, "Well, who's gonna read it?" And she looked, and she's like, "I don't know." And then she handed it to Michael, and he's like, I was like, "Give me that thing." So I read it, and that's when Mikey told me my superpower. He goes, "Your superpower is your storyteller." Because I had them like swaying back and forth with their eyes closed because I was reading, what to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what I've kind of run with that since then. But I ended up in Ohio for 2 months because the car died and nowhere else to go. So I was in Carlos Ruiz's Powerhouse Mastermind at that time. I don't know what happened to Carlos. He's kind of disappeared. But God bless him. But I ended up living with somebody that was an introvert, and I'm a complete extrovert.
Yeah.
You don't get more extroverted than me, pretty much. I put everything out there, good and bad,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to leave on Valentine's Day because he was moving in his triplex, and I ended up just hopping on an Amtrak train here to Florida without any money. I had been doing a GoFundMe. Sub two students got me here where I'm at right now. Right now I'm in the trying to get my first deal. I just had an interview at a poke restaurant here. Rent's due in a week. I don't have it, and I don't want to ask everybody anymore. But I do have something that's under contract, because I'm a connector too, and I do direct to agent. Somebody I connected with another person neither of them are sub two students, but it's closing on the 31st, and I'll get $1,000 when it closes. But it's got to go. It's in like a 3-day inspection period right now because it's like a land in a flood zone in Dallas.
Got it.
But all they need is a permit from the city. It is buildable, but it's exactly what I need. Like, and I was on EBT when I got here, and my car doesn't work since then. And I spent all the money, that extra money that I'd received on food, and I literally have $5 in my pocket yesterday, and I finally got the EBT access back. I had like $680 on there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it goes through, God willing, I need $1,000 to pay rent and utilities. So it's like God always makes me wait till the last second. So basically, that's the shortest version I can give you how I ended up sitting here talking to you.
Well, I love it, man. And I could tell, like, from the jump, like you said, right? You're an extroverted person. You're a great storyteller. And I want to commend you just for taking that leap of faith to go to Florida and just hopping on that Amtrak. The what I'm thinking about now is like, okay, it seems like I know where this overwhelmed word is coming from, right? You have a lot going on. So what have you done since to kind of just like hone in and get a little bit more zen with yourself?
That's the thing. When I had I had a good regimen before I got that money and left Las Vegas.
Hmm.
Then it all went sideways, and then I got back into it while I was staying with Josh in Ohio. But when I got on that train, I stopped. I used to read Proverbs every morning, like one Proverbs, like because there's 31 Proverbs, one a day, and you start June 1st. Today would be the 23rd Proverb.
Hmm.
I think Psalms is the same way. There's 31 different Psalms or something like that. I had a little thing I read on my phone as soon as I woke up after saying the Lord's. I still wake up and say thank you God, Lord's Prayer, and then I was reading Atomic Habits before I got on the train. Ironically, Atomic Habits,
Good book.
and I was exercising too, but I've been battling mindset and depression for the last 2 weeks. Like it's hard for me to even get up, and then I can't even sleep at night. I'm like so anxious. Last night I couldn't sleep, and then I ended up sleeping till almost not sleeping, but I have to actually use something to help me sleep. Like I take like 4 melatonin like 10 milligrams, and I wake up after an hour.
Wow. Yeah, I used to take melatonin too, so I know exactly what you're talking about. What do you think is causing that separation right now from yourself?
Mindset. Uh, it's everybody's telling me, well, you're close. That's when the devil's going to attack you the most. And the negative imposter syndrome, which I didn't even know I had until I learned I had it from Vina Jetty, because she had it. I didn't even know that thing was real. But I didn't even know it existed until she said how she was suffering from it. So
How are
I
you
have that.
suffering from it?
I I have doubts that I didn't have doubts before. I was really confident this is gonna work out, and just know, just I thought I was waiting to get that money for the settlement. I was gonna get settled, and I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
pay a couple months of rent where I could just focus and not worry about anything. And ever since the car, it's just been like, well, I'm just making it to one, holding on to one piece of the rock as I'm climbing. And I finally get somewhere I can sit and rest, but there's like a fire coming up the side of the mountain, so I got to start climbing again. And then I get to a plateau and I look and I say, man, you come along far, but man, the fire's still burning. And then some wind and rain is gonna come, and I'm climbing the mountain. I'm like ready to just like not jump off the mountain, but sometimes I cross in my mind like, well, just go back, just forget all this.
Yeah, fall back. Yeah, it seems like God's almost testing you sometimes, like you said, to like stay in that uncomfortable situation for a little bit longer, right? Like the 31st is when the check comes, and that's also
He's
when rent
never abandoned
comes.
me. I mean, this whole year, it's always at the last second. Like I was literally, I got so much shiny objects, I didn't pay rent with that drug dealer, and he was gonna have the Bloods throwing me out, and he was a 14-year murder convict
Wow.
too.
Yeah.
And so when I got that money, it was like, fine, because I just bought that car, loaded it up, and left. It's just everything's at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just I don't know why I worry about not being okay, because I've been okay the whole time in the past year and 5 weeks.
That exactly is my question, right? I mean, I think it's really good. I think you're in a really good place right now, Larry, with putting yourself
Still
out there
smoking
and
though, cigarette.
still smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're in a really good place when it comes to being in Team Arc and be not like you just did the interview, right? So not say being, but putting yourself out there, right, to join the team, and because the community is what catapulted you here in the first place. You making that decision to say, hey, listen, I deserve something better. I need a new family. I need a new friends, and continuing to go in that path. I think, like, let's talk about your business a little bit. You're going direct to agent. Is this just by yourself, like hand dialing? What does
Well,
it look like?
yeah. During the Elephant Challenge, the multifamily, I started doing direct broker, calling brokers for Julie's team, Julie Burkhart's, and so I got really good at it. I found out like, hey, actually like talking to these brokers. I'm pretty good at it. I started getting properties sent to us, and
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened with whether they got underwritten or not. Even
Mm.
doesn't matter. But so and then I started my podcast right before Christmas because of the first Get Creative with Abraham and Pace, right? And then I started reaching out to Abraham, or I said, hey, look, I started this because of you guys, and um, while I was coming down here on a train, he had his dealmaker event here in Tampa, and right where he was in the discussion, like there was a thread where other substitute students were figuring out how to help me. Somebody brought him into it, and I asked him when he said, I don't have any properties in Florida. He's like, I don't have anything where you could stay. And then he messaged me, and I said, hey, when I get to Tampa, would do you need any help? Could I volunteer? Because I wanted to volunteer, like I put myself in it clever. Well, and that's where I met Sam. And I met failed to meet a whole bunch of other people, but I like connected with like Angela Wayne, and I mean a ton of people.
Really quickly, I think, like, because you said you failed to meet other people, I think in networking events, it really isn't about, I mean, it's all based on intention, right? But it really isn't about the quantity of people that you meet there. It's the quality of the people there, right? And I mean,
Right.
Sam, shout out to Sam. He's a really heavy hitter. He's doing great things. And I just implore you for constantly doing that, right? Constantly putting yourself like, hey, listen, this is an event that I could find a lot of value from and give a lot of value to, right? With volunteering. Um,
Well, I
so
got starstruck while I was there.
yeah, with
It was
who?
like all these people I've been looking up to for the last year, like Keston and Mindset Marlin, and all
Marlon's
finally,
inspired this. We wouldn't be talking if
finally,
Marlon.
he just accepted my friend request last night. Finally, after a year.
Shout out to Marlon. I love Marlon.
But when I last week or last, it's been a week and a half now since I talked to Sam about taking the last. They had it was Saturday night, and I was sitting on Clearwater Beach, and I seen the ad. He said, discovery for people wanting to join, and I told him, I said, hey Sam, I'm actually my membership's actually on pause right now because I haven't been able to make my payments.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I don't care, just get a deal. And I
That's
said,
it.
and then I was telling him because Pace and Abraham did Get Creative while I was there. I'm sitting in the front row. Everybody saw me, and right behind me is Tyler Townsend. I didn't know who he was, and then the Hanson brothers, and
The Hanson Bros, the Bash Bros.
yeah, and I'm telling Sam, and I said I failed to connect, and he goes, the one thing that's stuck with me since we talked, and he said, just get a deal, get in here and get a deal. I don't care. He said, brother, he goes, this game is all about relationships, and if I wouldn't have took that action, I wouldn't have met him. I wouldn't even have had that conversation where I'm in the team now. And so it's been a week and a half on there, but it's about building relationships, and it's about the quality of relationships.
I love it.
Like,
And just to give you like a little bit of advice as well, like cuz I was on that same path that you were on, right? And I think you're doing the best thing that you can possibly be doing to get a first deal. I would recommend that everyone when you're looking to get your first real estate deal is you join a team. Join like someone that's actually doing the deals and all you do is focus on making calls. I joined Daryl Ellison's team last year and that was in January and I got my first deal in March. Called it Miracle March. That's what Keston calls the March. So I was like, okay, it's gonna happen March. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen March. I was saying it in February, right? I was saying it in January, but it was a matter of time when you stick to one thing and you stay focused. I know, Larry, that you're gonna, talk to that agent. You're gonna talk to that seller, and you're gonna come back to Team Mark with a deal for sure. It's only a matter of time.
yeah, that's where you were saying, like, I've 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 been pushing out the distractions, but like last night I was making calls, but I went back to the phone room. I was back in Vegas selling mini backs. I called the boss and I said, hey, look, I need to make some money. Can I work remotely? I was doing that, answering the dialer, looking at Privy, then I'd stop the dialer, I'd call an agent. I made a video about it last night. It's on my Facebook. But I still get distractions. Because when I started on this journey, I was 430 pounds, and then I started losing weight. I was making. That's how I started as a digital creator. Uh, I was making videos about my one meal a day because I go to different Vegas restaurants.
Okay.
June 1st to last year, I had 0 followers and 235 friends on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then Facebook and Instagram made me a digital creator, and I was like, just thought it was cool. I made like 40 cents the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, people like 20, you made 20 cents a week? Like, what are you all excited for? I'm like,
The
but
fact that it's possible.
right. But then I went to Resorts World for my birthday, which was the first Asian owned casino in Vegas. It's like 65 Asian restaurants in there,
Okay.
owned by Genting Corporation from Malaysia. After a couple videos I had made, I had made one about a homeless kid in Vegas, which I took a lot of grief from initially, but there was like 15,000 people that were like supportive of what I did. And I did it based off of, you ever see that video where Pace cuts in front of the line at Starbucks?
Yeah.
But
And he pays.
I did it because of that. I'm like, well, I'm gonna feed this kid because he was always asking me for drugs and lighters and cigarettes and money. You all always in the same gas station. People didn't know that at the time. When I made it, I went and I was waiting for a bus. I didn't have any money, and I tried getting them something hot from McDonald's, but they were. I had like a couple dollars. I was gonna buy them burger and something, but I was like, I had to catch that bus, so I was like, oh shit, I can't wait. So I just grabbed some donuts and a couple of vitamin waters, went out and handed to him, and I took a video, like pictures. I didn't like really. It was a kind of video. It wasn't.
Mm.
Um, and that got 2.5 million views,
Wow.
and then I blew up. I started getting me who for I'd been on drugs for the last in Vegas for the last 5 years. Before that, I was 500 pounds at the start of the pandemic. I couldn't even get a Vegas hooker to sleep with me. Disgusting. You know, I was disgusting. I was on crack, heroin, and 500 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting messages from women from all over the planet, like all over the planet.
Can you buy me some
I got
donuts and some vitamin waters?
no, it wasn't that, but
Okay,
it was
joking.
stuff with the Resorts World stuff
Yeah.
because I was in
Okay.
videos in Vegas. I hadn't had any attention. I still haven't had sex in almost 7 years
Mm-hmm.
because I've been trying to focus on myself, but I still get messages all the time, and I know they're fake, and I know, but I still let that distraction distract me. Um, I those are the little distractions,
Have you used
but
the Pomodoro timer? Do you know what that is?
no, what is that?
It is and Marlon was actually just talking about it in his coaching not too long ago. It's a timer where it sets a timer for 30 minutes, right? And you can customize the time based on to what you like. But it sets a timer and okay, 30 minutes of focus work. And then from there, after the 30 minutes is up, you take a short break, which is usually from 5 to 10 minutes. And you keep working in those cycles. I think that is something that has helped me a lot when it comes to sitting down. I put my phone in a different room and I just like focus on something too because those distractions they're going to pop up on your phone. That notification, you're going to hear that sound and your inclination is to just pick up the phone because we're programmed that way, right? I mean, Apple is doing a crazy thing like we're just always having our smartphones in our pocket and at arm's length. So, I think really when it comes to limiting those distractions, man, even with consuming content. I know I have a huge issue with that. I don't know about yourself, but a lot of content creators typically do. Um, that is going to be something that it's all a numbers game. This real estate stuff is all a numbers game. So, right, if you're on Privy, if you're on all these different things, you get notifications, it'll be hard for you to have the best possible conversation you have when that dialer ends up going through and someone needs your help.
Right. And that's kind of what happened yesterday. I didn't pick up the phone when I was on the dialer, and I was calling agents. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I had the phone, but I wasn't. The all the notifications were building up on Instagram. And I had at the end of the night though, I had 90 notifications on Facebook. So after I was done, another substitute student, Saneri Lim, she's down here in Florida. She was started doing 75 hard again. I'm like, she's like, why aren't you doing it again with me? I'm like, I don't know. So then I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna go take a walk at like
There
midnight.
you go.
Went took a walk to the gas station, and um, it's where I actually met the general manager. Where I just went to an interview at the Poke restaurant while I was in the gas station there. Um, but I got home and I know when you're building a brand, especially on social media, you have to comment to everybody that's you have to leave a comment, you have to like or I always leave hearts. I don't do likes. I take that extra step to do the hearts for everybody. Girls, guys, doesn't matter.
On YouTube or
On YouTube, on Facebook,
yep,
Instagram.
yep.
But so I started going through those 90 and like you were saying, there's like three people, Justin Kramer, who else? Nicholas Carlson,
Yep. Shout out to Nicholas Carlson.
one other person. You know, I get them all the time. I don't even know who all these people are that have been watching me and dude, and they're telling me, dude, we're watching. I'm proud of you. And
Yeah.
I had no idea. I know there's like, I have like a couple like they're not groupies, but I guess they are. There's a few women that come on every podcast,
I
you
love
know.
it. I love it. I mean,
Um,
it really it becomes a community, right? And that's the crazy thing is that you and I can have this conversation right now. I'm in Maryland, you're in Florida, and anyone anywhere around the world can be listening to us speak. And this could go on your page, this could go on my page. We can clip this up, we can put it on Instagram, and as we're calling agents, right? People can be watching us. It's a
yeah,
great thing. We live in a great time, and that's just the beauty of content. And it's amazing that you're continuing to share your story and get it out there. I'll send this over to you so you can post it as well. I'm gonna post all these live streams to Facebook and everywhere. We're gonna clip these up as well, and it's important, man. I think like that person said at Clever, your superpower definitely is storytelling. And
or that was after that was at in Montebello with the
okay,
meetup
yeah,
in November 3rd. Um,
yeah, he hit it on the head. Storytelling and just you went to the gas station and you ended up getting an interview, right? Like you hold this vibration that is really unstoppable when it comes to getting what you want, man. I think those distractions, you turn those off. I can send you I can message you on Facebook a link to the Pomodoro timer and let me know if it helps you or not, cuz I think that's a big
yeah,
thing
that
that's helped me.
I never heard of it. I think that that could help. It is hard, but yeah, like last night, like I was saying, I went through each one of those notifications. It started at like 12:30 when I got back.
Mhm.
I ended up for it took me almost 2 hours to go through all of them because I went to kept on going back. I wanted to go to each one because I'd missed them because I'm usually responding to them right away during the day.
Mhm.
Because also I'm like always one of the first people in creative finance when somebody posts something.
Mhm.
I'm like, hey, they got a deal. I'm like, here, DM me. And that's how I ended up meeting this woman in Dubai who has 17 virtual agents. Her name Mia. She's really cool. And I had Jennifer who has a hedge fund buyer in Texas. So that's the deal that they locked up. It's only 17,000, but she's gonna make 1,000. I'm gonna make 1,000.
Hey, a deal's a deal. You move it forward, all the relationships, every it helps so many people, man. And it's amazing that you're able to be that connector. Now, I would say, right, you're achieving what you want to do in every sector. Just with this like timer, right? Plan out times to do it, and you could do it to the most effective ability possible, because you're doing it right now, and look at what you're accomplishing when you're like overwhelmed and distracted.
Yeah, I lost your audio.
My back, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're locked in, Larry's on a different level. Like when you're super locked in on it.
How did I go from where I was a year ago? I'm making T-shirts and shit now of Larry the Lion. Like, did you see that?
No, I
You
haven't
didn't see
seen
that.
it. Send me it.
Here, let me see.
Yes, definitely send me. I want to follow you
I'll
on
send it
Instagram
through.
too, so I'll follow up with you right after this. I want to keep these around 30 to 40 minutes. So, in like we have like
Here,
a good 3 minutes.
okay. Go ahead, keep talking while I'll look for it while
Yeah,
you're.
I mean, I think it's the story of you posting, right? It goes to show you just like how one post can affect someone else. You saw Pace's post with he skips the line, guys. For anyone that doesn't hasn't seen the post, he skips the line, cuts in front of it, but he pays for the people behind him. Right? He says, "Hey, if I can I
Right.
pay this for you?" He's behind schedule, so he does that, and that inspired you to then go move and help the next person. If everyone can look at that and that gets 2.5 million views, how many people did the same effect did you bring that on, right? How many other people were helping after seeing that video? I bet you a ton.
Yeah. It was Carl Allen. That was another person who he. I got a billionaire that's reading my stuff. Like he's like always on my stuff now. And he was like when I posted last night about uh, how I'm trying to stay focused and I forget all the wording, but I was the processing. He's like, I'm proud of you. It's I,
Keep going, man.
like
Keep
a I had Bina Jetty teach me how to napkin underwrite a multifamily in front of 100 other sub-2 students that were too afraid to raise their
so
hand and said
cool.
they didn't understand it. And she was like, Larry, I'm proud of you that you're the only one out of all these students that have been students for a long time that I know not all of them in here understand this.
For sure.
You
I
know,
mean,
when
you helped them out. You know those people
and then
that
like
have the
7
answer.
other students, they were like, I don't know either. I don't know either.
Exactly. They're waiting for someone, and you stepped up, man. So the last question, just I wanna end it on this question here is, how were you? Because I think a lot of, I'm younger when it comes to sub two, but I think there's a lot of other sub two students that are, maybe in their 30s, in their 40s, whatever, and they don't know like the technicalities and how to post on Facebook, Instagram, and all these social medias. How was that journey for you, and how did you end up becoming so good at
I just started doing it. I
it?
I wanted to record and make videos for myself, and then when you find one app, you start seeing, the Facebook and Instagram listen to you, or they see what you're doing, and then I see this app, and I'm like, that's not like my favorite one is CapCut. I like CapCut, and then that Captions app, the Apple version with the purple.
Yep, I'm making
I
a
like
course
that
on both of
one.
those on how to optimize those. I mean, everyone should have those. Like you can just yeah, it's amazing. So you use those both right now?
Yeah, well, I had a whole bunch of them, but I had to stop my other subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I had a whole bunch I liked using, like Vixer, and there's a couple other, I can't remember the names right now, but
Amazing. So
I
you
like
you
Vixer.
took action, and then that's what followed.
Right, I just started making them, doing it, and then I'd learn something. Oh, this is cool. I can add this here, and then I learned how to post, and time limits, all that stuff, and then watching other people, because you start seeing things, you become more aware. Like, oh, I can do like this. I can stitch this video together, this, and where it was just one. I recorded a video and it looked little. I used the first and little Instagram letters. It looked ugly as shit,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but
Everyone
then
has that first video.
yeah,
Cool,
and
man.
I can show you that one too. I'll send that one to you. I
Yeah, send
find
me
it.
it over. I will
Oh,
send you I'll
here,
send
look
you
at
some
this.
other stuff after this. Like the
What's the date today? The 23rd.
23rd, yeah.
So I bought this iPhone last year, April 3rd, after my Android died.
Okay.
Today, I have 9,840 photos and 7,841 videos that I've made in less than a year.
Wow. There you go.
18,000 pictures and videos, all because Pace said I had to have an iPhone, or else he wouldn't be my friend.
There you go. 7,000
The
videos later,
greatest
here we are.
investment I ever made was this iPhone. Because if I wouldn't have had his iPhone, I probably wouldn't have started making it, because I had a crappy Android.
Yeah,
And
blurry and all that stuff.
yeah, it was, yeah.
It's
This is
amazing,
this.
man.
If you're gonna make content, get a freaking iPhone.
Exactly. Get an iPhone, and then when you're gonna step it up, get one of these.
Oh, that's next level.
Get one of these. That's it. And that's what we're shooting the podcast on. I mean, that's the great thing though, is like you can make 7,000 videos with an iPhone, and if you have the camera, if you don't, you still have the same shot at getting that 2.5 that you got. So man,
Yeah.
I appreciate you for booking this call and introducing yourself, telling your story to everyone. And I definitely want to, see your journey, see you get that first deal, man. It's coming very, very soon. And
Well, my whole thing is reason I share everything is if I can just save one person's life, change their life, you'll be happy.
amen.
Thank you. Sorry, I get a little misty eyed still.
All right, no, it's totally fine, man. I this has been a great conversation, man. You've poured value into me. Gonna continue to crush it for the rest of the day, and I hope you do as well, man.
I'm gonna get a deal tonight. I'm gonna put it into um, our submittal for Arch.
Let's go,
150 sub two students. Um,
Team Arc.
yeah, I can't. Is it Arc or Arch?
It's
I think it's
Arc.
Arch.
It's Arc.
Is it
Yeah.
Arch?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Arc. Hey, it doesn't, as long as you get a deal, you can call it whatever you want to call it.
But yeah, I'm grateful. I'm gonna make it to the next deal maker in June, and yeah,
Love it,
I'm
man.
close.
So if you guys are
Close.
in the area, definitely introduce yourselves to Larry over in Dealmaker in June. Where can they find you on your accounts?
Larry the Lion Parsons on Instagram. I don't use TikTok, Pinterest, and Twitter all that much, but it's Larry the Lion 316. And then Larry Parsons on Facebook and Larry the Lion on YouTube. Just look for Larry the Lion.
There we
and
go.
Monday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I do a couple on weekends, and then I'll sometimes just do live at night. Like I might get on in a little while here and talk about this.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I look forward to seeing it. I'm gonna definitely connect with you over on Instagram, and yeah, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, Larry.
Thank you, brother.
Take care, man.
Peace. All right, brother. Thank
Peace,
you.
brother. Let's go, guys. I know you can't see me right now. Let me see if I can pop this up. Great conversations with great people. It's just what we do. My boy's making calls in the background because we're always freaking working. We're always hustling. Boom. There we go. And this is what I can do right now. Like, and look at all this clutter, right? It's not going to be here much longer. We're closing on a property, and the stream is going to get crazy. This is going to be my freaking webcam, all right? Green screens, everything. It's going up, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're doing this like, this isn't even about content. Like, you can, Marlon, what's going on, bro? Thanks for stopping by. This isn't even about content. Like, this is just what we do, right? This is just, I owe a service to everyone that has helped me grow, and this is how I'm providing value back.